So I'm not so used to that because when the Wheel and Modified Tour goes to Loudon, a lot of times before they change their pit area around, we used to have to unload all of our equipment on pit road, and we just have to change right on pit road to get ready to go out for practice for the race. So I just change right in front of the whole grandstand. So it never really bothers me to do stuff like that.
The good news is Doug Coby just turned 21. Doug Coby, right. your inaugural winner for the SRX series that, of course, went off last week. He joins us now in the Freak Nation. How old are you, Doug? You look like you might be 21 plus maybe 10 or 15 years.
Hey, you know what? If you guys want to brand me as 21, then you'll be my new favorite group to talk to. So I'm actually 41. I'll be 42 this August.
He's still the youngest one of this group of four. So there we go.
My favorite line, Doug, is that I've got sweaters older than you are. So
not that much. I mean, I'm not. It's not like I'm sure some of the guests you guys have are still in their teens and 20s.
Oh,
so.
yeah.
Doug Coby joining us here in the Freak Nation. Doug, when did it hit you that you were running against dudes that have crazy history in NASCAR? Were you looking to your left going, there's Stewart, man, there's Elliott. My God, there's Helio. When did you go, mother effer, look at these dudes around me?
So the coolest thing about it, with this being the Camping World SRX series, they had a couple of fifth wheel campers there for the drivers to use as driver lounges, with water inside, a place to get changed, a place to get out of the sun or whatever. And they split us into two groups. And my group was Tony Stewart, Greg Biffle, Paul Tracy, Tony Kanaan, and myself. And, I wanted to go put my racing bag in there and just kind of get my stuff set down. So I'm like, okay, here we go. Like, who's going to be in here? And sure than hell, Tony Kanaan and Paul Tracy are just sitting in there lounging on the couches talking. And I walked up, closed the door, and I'm like, hey, and they're, kind of like turn and look. And I'm like, I raced with you, So it was, that was kind of like the fun, oh crap moment, and, honestly, those guys treated me just like one of them the whole time. And we're all racers, and they had a ton of respect for my background in the modifieds, and were really interested in me personally.
Doug, to answer me this, in 7th grade and 8th grade, we had to change in front of our football team, take showers together. Were you changing in front of Paul Tracy and Tony?
No, there was plenty of space in there. Imagine a huge fifth wheel camper. There's bathroom, there's bedrooms to close the doors and all that stuff. So no, it wasn't like a locker room.
It wasn't a community shower, in other words.
It was not. No.
Kenny, why do we always have to bring it back to, speaking of age, the old days, your old days of when you would play soccer and, like you just said, change in front of people in the locker room and take salt pills because that's the only medically advised thing that they said to do when you were dehydrated?
Yeah, it's just seriously. How we roll.
So I'm not so used to that because when the Wheel and Modified Tour goes to Loudon, a lot of times before they change their pit area around, we used to have to unload all of our equipment on pit road, and we just have to change right on pit road to get ready to go out for practice for the race. So I just change right in front of the whole grandstand. So it never really bothers me to do stuff like that.
What is the strangest thing, besides exposing maybe your boxers to people that you don't know? What is the craziest thing you've done in racing?
I don't know. I usually try not to do too many crazy things in racing. I'm a little conservative, and changing on pit road was at the beginning always a little bit of a big deal, and I used to hide behind a stack of tires or something like that. But now I don't know. Like I can't. I'd have to think about that one long and hard. Probably the dumbest thing I've ever done is fall out of my car on national television when I win the SRX race. But right. that just happened now. So I'd like to say I have good stories from my past, but maybe this is just the beginning of funny stories for my racing career.
And Doug Coby, back that up a little bit and tell people what exactly happened. And do you blame Ray Evernham?
I will not blame Ray for that one. So, well, maybe a little bit with the car design. So the SRX cars actually have a little opening side door for drivers to get in and out of. And I don't know, that was just something Ray wanted to do. And I'm small enough that I don't need to use the trap door to get in and out of the window. So I was so excited. I win the race and get all my stuff undone. And I went to get out of the car, and I've never had a door like that. I've been racing since 1986 and never had anything like that. So I just left it closed, and I go to get out of the car, and the Victory Lane folks had already put the window net on the window ledge and then also the checkered flag. And as I got out, I put my left foot, I think, on the checkered flag or the window net, and it moved and the door caved, and I was on my bum before I knew what the heck was going on. And had a second to think about what am I going to do here, so I stayed crouched down for a little second, caught my breath, let out a big laugh, and then got back up on top of the car. Definitely not my proudest moment, but I kind of think it was a little bit of sabotage. I thought maybe Biffle or somebody put him up to that to make it so that I had to deal with something, a little crazy there.
Doug Coby, winner of the first SRX race. Please tell me, we've talked about some crazy things that you've done. Please tell me when you got in the trailer that you didn't ask for any autographs for some of these top drivers in all of motorsports.
Yeah, it's just not my style. These guys are really hard-nosed racers, and I don't know that I've ever asked anybody I've raced with for an autograph. And it's not disrespecting them. I just feel like, they're so busy and they get autograph requests all the time. And a lot of times, most of those guys just want to chill out and hang out and talk racing and talk life and talk politics. One of those things where, not my deal. I appreciate what those guys bring to the table. Their careers speak for themselves. And, I'm not an autograph seeker, really.
Well, the freaks grew up on short tracks. We grew up at Irwindale Speedway. We grew up at Paris Auto Speedway. We grew up at short tracks all over the country. So we have more than respect for what you did on a short track. Was this luck? I don't think it was, but can we see more guys like you who win championships on the short track? They get an equal equipment, they're going to blow some of the big names away.
I'd like to think so. I mean, I said from the beginning that, this series is celebrating short track racing and bringing fan interest to short tracks like my home track, Stafford Speedway. Fans that never would see a race at Stafford before got to see the track, see the facility. They got to see the SK Modifieds put on a great all-star race, and they also got to see the full racing card on Friday night that Stafford puts on every week. And I think that that's an important part of motorsports, is remembering that, the grassroots racing and grassroots racers, people who are, crew chiefs, spotters, people who are media members, calling the races, Mike Joy, all these guys, they started at short tracks. You got Kyle Rickey on MRN, you got all these people who do different things at the short tracks and move up into the higher parts of motorsports. And I think the SRX series really celebrates that. And to have a live national audience bringing in new fans to short tracks all across the country is really what this series is all about. So, I'm happy to hear you guys are short track folks. I'm pulling for all the local ringers. I know that Brian Brown's going at it this weekend at Knoxville, and he's a multi-time track champ there. I think he's going to have his hands full with Scott Bloomquist. But my money, tell you 100%, is on Bobby Santos to win at Lucas Oil Raceway Park. You heard it here first. Bobby's going to pull that off. He's one of the best racers in the country. And we got our start together at Silver City Quarter Midget Club in Meriden, Connecticut, along with Ryan Preece, along with Joey Logano, and along with David Gravel.
What I remember most from short tracks is that these guys laugh and drink beer together after the race, and they go to borrow parts from each other. But when that flag falls, they're liable to run somebody into the third row. And you bring that same attitude in all short tracks, and that attitude doesn't always exist at Daytona or Talladega or Indianapolis Motor Speedway or some of the other places where these guys made their names.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if you grow up racing short tracks and you go to the same track every Friday or Saturday night like they do at Stafford, you're going to have your rivals. You're going to have the guys and girls that you can race with door to door and never touch. And you're going to have the ones that you race with and touch every single time. And, I've done the grind at Stafford weekly on Friday nights. And quite frankly, I mean, it caught up with me over the years, and it just gets really difficult to do. So all the short track racers out there that are working full-time jobs and then busting their butts to get their cars ready in their race shops every night during the week, taking their time off of work, to travel and whatnot. I mean, that's who I represent. My story is not, I am not a grease monkey. I'm not in the shop, 12 hours a day. So I don't want to misrepresent that. But I grew up 100% in the short tracks. I put my time in, paid my dues, and battled it out. And when these guys came to Stafford, everybody said to me, what are you going to do if you have to get aggressive? I said, I'm going to lay the bumper on them if I have to. I race on the modified tour, man, and we got Nerf bars and bumpers, and we use them. And it's not no-touch racing, and it's skillful. You have to be good at it. I'm not here to wreck everybody, but I'm here to not get pushed around either.
Talk a little bit about not getting pushed around. I mean, you've got massive trophies right behind you right there. It's just your pedigree. You talked originally about how you walked into one of the Camping World RVs and there was Paul Tracy and Tony Kanaan. What about Doug Coby? Come on. People, they better be respecting you now. Clearly you have a truck series ride right now, but it's not really fair to me to see that, okay, yeah, you've got all these big guys. Everybody wants to go see the big guys in this SRX series. And then look what you did. You just crushed them.
Hey, I'm fine with it. I think a lot of the local fans, they kind of pegged me as the favorite from the beginning. And, they know that I know Stafford. I probably got 10,000 laps around that track. I've got 30 plus career wins and 4 different divisions. And, I ran full-bodied cars there in my first 5 years when I was in my teens and early 20s, and then moved up to the modified tour, which is, the Whelen Modified Tour is the king of the Northeast. It's what you do, and it's what you strive to race. And there are so many modifieds that we race here that people who are from the Midwest or from the South, they hear the word modified and they think of the IMSA style modifieds and the Florida modifieds. But the asphalt tour type modifieds of the Northeast are so rad, and I'm so fortunate to be able to race them. So I've never really cared about where I go next, because the modified tour, as far as I'm concerned, is one of the most competitive divisions in the country, including Cup, Xfinity, and Truck. From top to bottom, we have great racers and smart people, and we put on a good show, and the cars are fun to drive, and I can't ever complain about that. So the Truck Series ride is an added bonus from this SRX win. I'll be driving the 24 for GMS Racing at Bristol, and just so happens that truck won Bristol in 2019 and 2020. So really excited to partner up with them for the one race. And 41 years old, making my first National Series start, and maybe there'll be more. And maybe with Josh Berry's success and guys like me and Ryan Preece, maybe there's a place now for short trackers in the Big 3 series of NASCAR.
But hold on a second. I think Preece and some of the others that you've mentioned in this interview, they've got that daggone blue check mark. I know you say you don't care about things like that, but you need your Twitter verification, dude.
I've been trying for years to get the blue check mark, and I've even followed the steps about, making sure your birth date is in your profile, making sure your website's in your profile. So I've tried everything I can, and darn Twitter just won't give me the damn check mark.
That's a Tony Stewart thing now. I think Tony and Ray need to help you out. You help them out so that now they help you out.
Yeah, I hope so.
Hey, let's get back to that race, Doug. Do you have a significant other? Do you have a spouse or a girlfriend?
I do not. No, I'm single right now.
Okay.
Not for
Are
long.
you dating anyone? Are you dating anyone?
No.
Okay. Well, this doesn't help me any. When you got home, bro, who did you celebrate that you kicked their ass the more? Did you to your crew, to relatives, like, I just kicked Tony Stewart's ass?
The awesome thing about this race, my sister and brother-in-law moved to Wilmington, North Carolina area last August, and I haven't really seen them too much, but she drove up with my niece Kennedy for that race, and they were back in the pit area with me. And my father, my sister, and I started racing quarter midgets back in 1986, and we traveled the country together. My mom stayed home and kept the house running, and we went off and raced. And the three of us have this unique bond. A lot of times if you see Bobby Santos win races, his parents, his sisters are there with their families, and it's the same thing with me. We love stuff like that, and we thrive on that, and it's certainly been a shot of energy.
Doug, you didn't answer my question. Who did you brag about kicking their ass more? An Indy 500 champion? You've got 2 Indy 500 champions. Come on.
I think for most people, beating Helio, just knowing he won the Indy 500 a couple weeks ago, I mean, he's obviously a superstar for many reasons. I got so much respect for Tony and all he's done. He ran a modified tour car back in 2006 at Loudon, and he was actually my teammate that day because my car owner's son, Mark Chase, was working at Joe Gibbs Racing, and got him in the car. So, that kind of stuff, it hasn't really sunk in. like I said, we strap on our helmets, and I don't care if you're the president of the United States. I'm going to race you like a racer. I'm going to give you respect, but I'm going to move you out of the way if I have to. And, that's just how I've always been. And I try to do it tactfully and tastefully. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But, it's not, for me, just beating all those guys is a huge deal. And, it just proves how difficult Stafford is as a speedway to just figure out how to get around. It's not easy. And the people who do it weekly have known that for years.
Wait a minute, Crash, I'm stepping in here.
No, you go.
You mentioned Helio, beating Helio, Indy 500 winner. I got to ask you, dude, you're not dating anybody, but can you beat Helio on the dance floor? He's also won the dance competition.
Listen, you saw my exit of the race car. You really think I'm going to be dancing against Helio? I mean, I know how to pick and choose my battles, man, and I pick Stafford Speedway any day over any of that stuff. So I might beat him on Twitter as like, I'm pretty. I like to find funny little GIFs, images, and mess around with my friends on Twitter quite a bit. So I might be a little witty there, but definitely not in a dancing competition. Definitely not.
Oh,
so
Kenny.
You got that clean beard and everything is all well groomed and everything. Do you do that for the freaks, or is that Doug Coby when he gets in the club and the women line up to
Oh my
drink with?
It's always like this. I feel like clean shaven. I always look like a little baby. So I've been one of those guys that when I was 21, I looked like I was about 14. So the second I could grow a little bit of a beard, it stayed, and that's kind of just makes me feel like I'm a little bit older.
You only look 16 now, dude.
Hey, I'll take it. I could be like the new thing in NASCAR, right? Like they want young kids, and maybe just find an old guy who looks like a younger guy, and we could trick some people.
There you go.
It's the year of the old guy. I mean, if it's Tom Brady, it's Phil Mickelson, it's Helio Castroneves, it's Doug Coby. So yeah, take it and run with it.
It's experience, and especially in racing. Racing's tough because we go in waves in this sport. And Brian Brown and I were on a call yesterday, and he's my age. He's 42, and he summed up exactly what I've said many, many times, which is when I was 21. The people in motorsports were looking for experienced guys that were in their late 20s or 30s. So we got overlooked. Now that we got to our 30s and 40s, they're looking for 16, 17-year-olds. And, I'm a firm believer that motorsports is unique in the fact that the race cars don't know how old the person is that's turning the wheel and pushing the pedals. And if you're good and you're 50, then by all means, if you're the best out there, you should have a shot. And if you're good and you're 12, you should be out there and have a shot. And it's all about good racing, and it's all about different stories. And too many times today, I feel like we kind of hear the same story. And I'm feeling a little bit of a shift of the tide, so to say. Everybody wants the Josh Berry story. Everybody wants Ryan Preece, who bet on himself to get in the Joe Gibbs ride and goes out there and wins 2 Xfinity rides. And maybe they want a 41-year-old who goes up against the champions and beats him at his home track. So stories are what makes motorsports interesting and what makes it fun. And racing's supposed to be fun. And too many times these days we forget that. And I'm here to say, my career has gone from 1986 and it's still going 2021 and beyond. That's a long time. And I've seen a lot, been a lot, and heard a lot. And, maybe now it's my turn,
One of the main reasons for poor vehicle performance is a dirty fuel system. It can cause decreased fuel economy and actually do harm to your engine over time. By adding Lucas Fuel Treatment to your vehicle, it cleans and lubricates the entire fuel system, pump, carburetors, fuel injectors, and valves as you drive. It also improves your vehicle's performance. It's a non-solvent product designed to protect both gasoline and diesel engines. Lucas Fuel Treatment. It works.
Hey, you got some big freaking bowls behind your head. If you're making punch and you're going to fill those bowls up with punch, jungle juice or whatever we called it in college, what are you putting in those punch bowls behind your head?
Definitely Coors Light. I'm going to fill some of it with Coors Light and probably the others with some Tito's and soda. That'd be good. So, my friends and I, we enjoy camping at the track. So Camping World SRX is perfect for us. My race crew, most of us, we all camp together when we go to Loudon and then the 2-day shows at Stafford and Thompson. So we enjoy that together and sitting around a fire, cooking food and drinking some beers. I mean, it's racing. You know what I mean? It's supposed to be like that.
Kenny referenced the punch bowls. Of course, we're talking about your Whelen Modified trophies behind you. Which one do you grab first for some maybe memories, but which one means the most to you?
The first will always mean the most. It was a long climb for me. It was not easy to get into a winning car on the modified tour, let alone a championship winning car. I went many years without funding, without a full-time ride. I would run 4 races for somebody and maybe grab a couple top 5s in those 4. And that was my part-time career from 2007 all the way through 2010. And then as soon as I got in a full-time ride in 2012, where I ran one for one team, I won the championship and followed it up with 5 more over the next, I think, 7 years. And it's just amazing for the people who know me and know my struggles with finding funding and getting a full-time ride. You know, the last decade has just been awesome with a bunch of wins and championships and working with some awesome people. And I'm still going along strong with my own race team, Mayhew Tools and Doug Coby Racing, the number 10 here. We're battling in the modified tour every week, and we're going to keep doing it.
Doug Coby, dude, you know how to lay this stuff. You have more marketing expertise than some of the marketers we deal with.
Well, I'm a college grad with a business degree in marketing and finance. Listen, I'm just seeing this right now as this is my job. My job is to educate you guys on. You all want to talk about SRX, and so do I. But I race every week on the modified tour, and those are the drivers and teams I compete against that have helped me become really good at what I do. And there's 15 other guys that could come do it too. I feel like I kind of bear the torch for the short trackers and the modified guys, especially. And it's my job to be an ambassador for our series and get you guys excited about it. You got to tune in and watch more than just when you see us one time on TV,
Why in the hell do you have to wait until freaking September to get that NASCAR truck right? I know beggars can't be choosers, bro, but damn it, that's what
he's busy.
Do the math, man. It's 3 months away, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to do some more stuff in between. Keep in mind, I have a busy schedule with the modified tour, trying to win another championship, and we have a hole to climb out of because I missed a race to go run the SRX deal. I missed the Oswego race. So, yeah, I mean, I would love to do as much as I can, whatever I can do to help short trackers get a name. That's my job right now. And I'm going to try to do the job the best I can.
6-time Whelen Modified champion, Doug Coby, preaching the gospel, buddy.
Yeah, thank you guys. I love that you guys are covering short tracks, and it's never too late to get an interest in a new series. And like I said, my job here is to do the deal with SRX and thank them, obviously, Camping World and Ray Evernham and everybody associated with that, CBS with the Montag Group and George Pine, Tony Stewart, those 4 of them putting this together and saying, we want local guys. Yeah. It's changing motorsports, and that's what it should do. It's not like everything else, and it's not meant to be perfect racing. The cars aren't meant to be perfect. But man, it's meant to be fun, and it's meant to get the fans psyched. And I'll tell you what, if you heard the live Stafford Speedway crowd cheering for Bill Elliott and Tony Stewart, it proves that, people still have a connection to these, drivers who have moved on to other things. And it's awesome to get them back. And it's about reigniting that passion in the motorsports fan base. And, I'm just going to ride the wave a little bit and, like I said, do my part.
We need that right now in motorsports because motorsports of the 50s, 60s, 70s, it was win on Sunday, buy on Monday, and it was great for the car business. But cars are going by the wayside, and kids aren't as excited to get their license anymore at 16 years old. So, yeah, we need a way to reignite the younger fan base and to get them into the stories of motorsports to see that these are people with hardworking jobs that are just doing things just like Joe Blow next door, and that you can do it and be a success at it and have fun.
Yeah, I personally believe that the way you reignite the younger fan base is you reignite their parents. And, I think that, the younger kids are always going to have technology and they're always going to be maybe distracted by different things, and that's fine. But I think that if we continue to focus on, if you've got 10-year-olds who have, 40-year-old parents, I think if you focus on reigniting the parents, getting them excited. Everybody wants to spend time with their families now because of COVID, and we're kind of living in a new world, and we're going to reemerge from COVID with, we're going to have to get people out to the short tracks to make them survive. And it's really important to remember that the short tracks that have gone away aren't short tracks that went away in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. There's short tracks going away today. Myrtle Beach Speedway is gone. Concord Motorsports Park is gone in the last year. Southside Speedway in Virginia has said they're not reopening. So we have to get fans out to the short tracks, and technology puts us on TV. Everybody can watch all these races from, CBS and all these things. And yeah, we want you to tune in. But when the races are over that aren't televised, you got to get out to the ones that aren't televised and put your butts in the seats and keep the short tracks going. So it's really important. It's an important part of the fabric of motorsports. So this is it right now,
How long did your hangover last after your win?
Listen, I have learned over time to pace myself. I was driving myself home, so I enjoyed a couple double hook lagers from Broadbrook Brewing Company, the Stafford Speedway official beer. Had a couple of those, and then I timed it just right where all my drunk friends who were waiting for me, they had actually gone home already, and so I kind of scooted out the gate and went home, and kind of went about my business. And my family came over the next day. I had some friends over. We had some beer around the pool and whatnot, and listen, my very first tour championship, I think we stayed up until probably 3 or 4 a.m. and I didn't leave my campground at Thompson Speedway until about 3 p.m. And it's not a fun time to have to crawl out of there. So I've learned to pace myself and celebrate at other times.
Whoa.
See, that comes with the expertise and the
listen,
seasoning.
when you're 21, you don't know that stuff. No. But when you're 41, you guys know. I mean, you know what you can drink that's actually going to let you wake up the next morning. And I've learned that over time, stay away from the vodka when you're celebrating. Stay away from the shots, the Jello shots when you're celebrating. Stick straight to the Coors Light, and I could go all night,
6-time Whelen Modified champion, of course, the inaugural winner, Stafford Raceway, SRX, inaugural winner. It's good to get Doug Coby here in the Freak Nation. Buddy, thanks for doing this, man. It's been fun.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. I appreciate it, and looking forward to seeing more of your stuff, and maybe we'll talk after that truck race in September.